Hello there, Ray here, and we just discovered 18 cool tricks you can do with the new Lichen and glow squid. Right as the new snapshot comes out, we come onto here and do a live stream of playing around with all the new stuff. And you can check my Twitch page for my schedule. The testing on the server gets really crazy, as you can imagine. So I want to say big thanks to Bisect Hosting for partnering with me and for hosting this server. If you ever need a server to host Minecraft or other games, make sure to use the promo code RAY for 30% off your first month. This supports me and allows me to continue making videos like this. Now let's see all the crazy stuff we did on the server. During our testing, the guys found this weird trick where if you place Lichen into a source of lava, it turns it into water. And it's actually a waterlogged Lichen that's in the bottom of it. This is extremely strange. You can even make a water source that doesn't flow away. Now technically this is a waterlogged block, so if you break this, it's going to update the water and it's going to flow. It gets weirder yet, you can do this in the Nether dimension, and now you just got water in an area which normally will make water instantly evaporate. If you do a couple of these right beside each other, you can make an infinite water source. So if I remove this, and even remove these Lichen blocks, and you can even flood huge lava lakes. Let's make this water go all the way over to there and turn all this lava into obsidian. Here comes the water. You can see how one little source can become a bunch of sources. And yes, it does convert lava into obsidian in this dimension. You can also make cobblestone generators here and stone generators. Now what's special about this is in this dimension, lava moves faster. So this lava has to get over here and touch this water before it creates cobble. So you can actually create faster cobblestone generators if you build them in the Nether dimension, which normally isn't possible, but with this it is. Now even this flowing water here, you can place kelp into it, and this is going to make it all into sources. You can turn a small area into a large area of water. And by repeating this process, you can see that we're actually extending the water with sources this direction without even needing to use the Lichen anymore. Do this in your world now, you can kind of move the water and create more sources later on. This opens up a lot of possibilities, including filling up your glass bottles with water right here in the Nether dimensions. You could have a whole automatic brewing system here. You could also make a blaze farm where the blazes fall directly into water and take damage before coming to the player where he finishes them off. Now normally when you place down wet sponges in the Nether dimension, they will immediately dry out and turn it into the normal sponge. What will happen when we place a sponge in this water here? Will it stay wet or will it just constantly remove water and dry out again? So let's try it out. It looks like it removed the water and then dried out again. So if we put it right by this water, it removes the water, then it dries itself out, and then more water comes and it just keeps doing this. It becomes an infinite loop. Kind of funny, when it dries out, it plays the fire extinguish sound. That means you can also convert your concrete powder into concrete blocks here. Now, I used to be able to convert concrete inside of lava if it was dropped onto it rather than placed into it. But that no longer works. Now, striders are another mob that is damaged by water. See, these guys are taking damage. Now the Lichen converting lava into water is probably a bug in the code where the two liquids are getting mismatched. Now another odd property of this block is that it can actually hold back water. And you can do the same thing for lava. You can do some weird stuff like this, where it's being supported on all sides, and it can be placed on any full squared block. Like this trapdoor where this side is a full block and it's up against another block, we can place it there. As soon as it loses support, it just pops right off. This means you can place it on some unusual blocks like doors, forest flowers, because they're actually a full block even though they don't appear that way. But some things don't work, like snow layers don't work, and powdered snow. Many blocks aren't a full cube, so it doesn't work on them. Same thing for soul sand, at least on top and the sides, but underneath they are a full square, so you can place it there. You can't place it like on the side of a scaffolding, but you can place it on top. You can also place it in some weird things like campfires, which are actually go all the way out to here, even though they appear to be a little bit smaller. Shulker boxes are a bit strange. You can place them on all the sides when they're closed, but when you open them up, it pops off the side, but not on top. The top kind of reminds you of like a snow layer. They don't work on cobwebs. Now you cannot automatically shear the Lichen by putting shears inside of the dispenser. So if I go ahead and power this, you see nothing happens. This only works on like sheep and beehives. You also can't compost it. Lichen is also not flammable. Now in real life, Lichen is made up of a fungi and algae working together. They normally live kind of in damp, shady areas. Now with the debug stick, you can go through the different variants that this can grow in. We can add a bunch of these and you can actually make a full cube out of them. It kind of looks like a leaf block. It doesn't have any collision, which means you don't have anything to run into. It looks pretty crazy when it's up in the air, and you can even waterlog it, and updating it will break it. If you use shears on the waterlog version, you can still get the items from it. Now we tried putting this onto block 36, which is an invisible block, but doesn't support it. But you can place it onto the barrier block. Now, even though this looks very similar to this, they're actually different. Where this is all inside of one block, this is different blocks on the outside of one block. This is actually 7 blocks consisting of 6 lichen and 1 barrier block. Now, you can do something similar with a glass block, and you can make the ball variant by doing something like this where you have trapdoors all facing inwards. And then you could place down one on every side. You can even close this lid and place one on the top. You can use ender pearls to escape it. You could create the unsupported version by using any method that doesn't create updates. Like this here, if we remove this power, it's going to leave a floating version. And you could potentially do this on all 6 sides to get the cage variation just like this, but in survival. Waterlogged lichen is just like any other waterlogged block where lava will flow right over top of it and not be affected. If it flows beside it, you can see it will convert into stone or cobble. Now, even though it can hold back liquids, it's considered a pretty weak block similar to like grass, where when you right click it with any other block in hand, it'll just replace it. So it can replace like grass and grass can replace it, or like vines, and right click on this will just replace it. Now you can't climb it like you can with vines, and vines will also naturally grow, or lichen will only spread nearby if you bone meal it. Just like other weak blocks, when something falls onto it, it just gets removed. Now you can't use pistons to obtain it, or pull it, or move it, or TNT to turn it into an item. And Silk Touch doesn't work on it, but only shears will. Now the width of it is the same as carpet. They're both 1 pixel, but unlike carpet, which has a collision box, these do not. The mobs are able to spawn inside of it. You could think of it as being similar to 1 layer of snow. Even though it looks like you can see something there, the player doesn't actually bump into it. And that's what the game checks when spawning in a mob. Now it does need a supportive block to hold it, but you can use another block that also needs to be supported so that both sides will support each other. So here we have a ladder supporting the lichen, and the lichen is supporting the ladder. If either of them is removed, the other one will be removed. If you use the set block command to place in glow lichen, the default texture for this block is lichen that has nothing on all 6 sides. So you end up just having a block that produces light, since the actual lichen also produces a light level of 7. And if you don't specify how many sides it should have, it just thinks that you should have 0 sides, which means just a light source that has nothing there. Now, even though you can't see the block, and if you like point at it, you can't see with F3, but there is actually the lichen block there. So if you would close it off, you can see we can close off the light, and it's still bright inside here. And if you place a block where it is, it's going to remove it and have your block replace it. Now, one little trick you can do is place it directly inside of a nether portal. So there's actually a block right there. Now when people try to light the nether portal, they won't be able to because there's technically a block inside of it. If I try to click right here, you can see I'm not able to place in the flame block. And since this glowing block doesn't have any actual parts to get updated, it doesn't even update when you remove the block underneath of it. Where a normal one that is producing light, once you remove that block, it removes the lichen, which also removes the light source, and this one doesn't. Now, it could be possible to do this in survival if you're able to remove the lichen block without interfering with updating the light. Now, you might have noticed the texture of this is kind of interesting. If you look at it closely, you can kind of see there is some swirls in it, like this little swirl right there. And if you put a bunch of them together, you can see they make kind of a pattern with these kind of spirals. And what's really cool is they connect up with the ones beside them. Like this piece here connects between all of these here. So it's like a continuous pattern that goes from block to block. You might actually recognize this pattern from the Minecraft Live event where they had a short piece where they talked about Khappa, who does the textures for the game. And this was one of them that he was working on. I'm not very good at aesthetics in the game of Minecraft, but I can already see how just by adding this one little texture thing, you can pretty much make new textures for every single block in the game. And a guy during our testing stream made this amazing snow-covered tree, and it looks like it's just lightly frosted with snow. Besides the glow lichen, they also introduced the new glow squid, which drops the glow ink. And it seems like the glow squid are just as derpy as the normal squid, where they end up on land and they die. Look at this guy. Now the new mob, the glow squid, does look quite a bit better than the old squid, just because it has so much more detail. Also has these kind of star particles that are coming off of it. And when you hit the squid, it puts off kind of like a fluorescent green-blue. They both seem to kind of travel the same distance when they get hit, depending on if they're hitting a wall or not. Now everybody really knows that these squids have these derpy eyes, but these squids also have eyes. I kept looking at these dots and these kind of spots, and those aren't the eyes. The eyes are on this side here. Kind of hard to see. There's a camouflage with the dots, and they keep rotating. You can't see the eyes. There they are. Other than that, they look very similar to the old squids. Here you can see both of them side by side. Now the old squids as well as the new ones are both part of water creatures, which includes squids and dolphins and axolotl. And you can see this in my F3 screen right here where this W is. W stands for water creatures, and there's 26 of them. If I killed this guy, the number should go down. Now it's 25, and if I killed this guy, it should also go down. Now it's down to 23. That means these guys will also automatically despawn if the player goes greater than 128 blocks away from them. So let's go up in the air, and if we go back, should have despawned. Yep. So it is possible in the future that you get less normal squid spawns because these guys are also spawning in caves, depending on what biome they spawn in and how deep. After writing a sign and dyeing it, you can apply the glow ink. During the stream, it was noticed that if you right-click a sign with the new glow ink, it actually makes your left hand go kind of crazy. You can see here, it's like moving very, very fast. When you look straight at it, you don't actually see your hand doing this. Now these glow signs are more prominent. You can also make the glow item frames, which are way more prominent for items as well as maps. Several of you guys asked how a room consisting of solid white maps would look using the old item frames versus the new ones. So these rooms are kind of referred to as infinity rooms, where it looks like everything is exactly the same. Let's go ahead and give it a try. So the old infinity rooms were made out of glowstone so that everything was super bright because the maps were kind of dark. And then you just come in here inside and place down item frames. Since they are entities, there could be multiple ones per block. Then you put your white map in each of them. And you can see it gives a very weird effect. It almost looks like you can't tell which way is which direction. There's no seams or anything. I can't tell really what's up from down. And that is using the old method. Let's go ahead and try the new item frames. And we shouldn't need any light, so let's go ahead and put this in a dark area. We'll close this completely off. Very dark in here. Let's see what it looks like when we put the frames. Oh, okay, they are really white. And I mean the character's arm is darker because there's no light. I don't know if I can really tell the difference. But I just switched into the old one, and I don't think I can really tell a difference, just because this one's lit up so well with the sea lanterns. Now, just like you can make invisible item frames using a command, you can also make them in the glow variation by using this command here. And then when you place them down, anything you place inside will be bright as well as the actual frame itself will be invisible. Let's go ahead and compare these in the dark. There's your normal one, and here is the bright one. It looks really cool, but once again, you really only notice it when it is dark out. It was a lot of fun playing around with the new features. If you haven't already seen my snapshot review video, you can check that out. Or the Lichen and Glow Squid farms that we already made. Thanks everybody who joined these streams and helped test everything out. If you'd like to see more videos like this, check out my playlist, as I have hundreds of videos. As always, don't forget to leave a like on the video as well as share with other Minecrafters. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!